What does it truly mean to be wealthy? Is it the size of your bank account, the luxury of your possessions, or the prestige of your social status? These questions have puzzled humanity for millennia. However, perhaps no philosophical tradition has offered more profound and practical insights than Stoicism. Founded in Athens around 300 BCE, Stoicism presents a radical perspective on wealth that resonates powerfully in our modern era of consumerism and social comparison. The Stoics did not equate wealth with material abundance or external markers of success. Instead, they saw true wealth as an internal state, a condition of self-sufficiency, moderated desires, and inner freedom. The Stoic view offers a refreshing alternative in a world where we are constantly bombarded with messages equating happiness with acquisition. It challenges us to look beyond the superficial trappings of wealth and consider what truly enriches our lives. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, said Epictetus, a former enslaved person who became one of Stoicism's most influential teachers. This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to wealth. It suggests that true richness comes not from accumulating more, but from needing less. Seneca, another towering figure in Stoic philosophy, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." These words cut to the heart of our modern dilemma, the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction that keeps us chasing after the next big thing, never quite satisfied with what we have. But the Stoics didn't just criticize the pursuit of wealth. They offered a constructive alternative. They advocated for a life of virtue, self-discipline, and inner cultivation. He is the most powerful person who has power over himself, Seneca advised, pointing to self-mastery as the ultimate form of wealth. This perspective invites us to redefine what it means to live a prosperous life. It encourages us to look inward for fulfillment, rather than constantly seeking it in external circumstances. The Stoics teach us that true wealth lies in our ability to find contentment in the present moment, cultivate wisdom and courage, and live in harmony with our deepest values. In this video, we'll explore the Stoic approach to wealth. We'll examine how to define personal wealth in a way that aligns with our authentic selves, not societal expectations. We'll discuss the liberating practice of knowing what is enough and how it can free us from the tyranny of endless wants. We'll also delve into the counterintuitive Stoic practice of voluntary poverty, a powerful tool for cultivating gratitude and resilience. And we'll explore how to build genuine, lasting wealth by developing our inner resources and living a life of purpose and integrity. The wisdom of the Stoics offers us a pathway to a more prosperous, meaningful existence. It shows us that the wealthiest life is not filled with the most possessions, but is most aligned with our values, most at peace with itself, and most open to the richness of human experience. The Stoic view on wealth is profound. The Stoics, through their keen observations and life experiences, developed a deep understanding of the paradoxical nature of material wealth. Their insights challenge our conventional notions of what it means to be rich, offering a perspective that is both enlightening and liberating. Let's begin with Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. In one of his letters, he writes, "Money doesn't make you rich. These individuals have riches, just as we say we have a fever when the fever really has us." This powerful metaphor reveals Seneca's view that wealth often possesses people, rather than vice versa. Seneca observed that many wealthy individuals in Rome were paradoxically among the poorest in spirit. Money had made them obsessive, controlled their schedules, and surrounded them with insincere flatterers. Instead of providing freedom, their wealth had become a burden, enslaving them to constant worry and fear of loss. This idea is echoed in another of Seneca's quotes. "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Here, Seneca points to the greedy nature of desire. No matter how much wealth one accumulates, one remains spiritually impoverished if the craving for more persists. Epictetus, another towering figure in Stoic philosophy, shared this perspective. A formerly enslaved person who gained his freedom and became a respected teacher, Epictetus had unique insights into the true nature of wealth and liberty. He once shared a story about a man who had been offered a lucrative job by the Emperor Augustus. The man came to Epictetus boasting about the money and fame he would gain. Epictetus, however, was unimpressed. He responded with probing questions that cut to the heart of what truly matters in life. "I told him not to touch it," Epictetus told his students. When the man protested that he would make a lot of money, Epictetus replied, "Yes, for little in return." The man argued that many people would learn his name, to which Epictetus asked, "Are you planning to be there every time someone utters your name?" When the man said his name would outlive him, Epictetus said, So will a rock you carve your name into." Finally, when the man boasted about wearing a gold crown, Epictetus delivered the coup de grace, "And they will put a crown made of roses on you for your funeral. You will look even more elegant in that." Through this dialogue, Epictetus demonstrates the fleeting and unsatisfying nature of external markers of wealth and success. He encourages us to look beyond surface-level gains and consider the true cost of pursuing wealth, the sacrifices, compromises, and spiritual poverty that often accompany it. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher king, also weighed in on this topic. He famously said, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This observation highlights how our perception of wealth is often shaped more by societal expectations and the judgments of others than by our values and sense of fulfillment. The Stoics recognized that true wealth comes from within, from a state of inner freedom, contentment, and self-mastery. As Epictetus put it, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This radical redefinition of wealth shifts our focus from external accumulation to internal cultivation. By moderating our desires, cultivating contentment with what we have, and developing our inner resources, the Stoics argue that we can achieve wealth far more durable and satisfying than material riches. These ancient insights challenge us to reevaluate our modern notions of wealth and success. They invite us to consider, are we genuinely enriched by the size of our bank accounts or the number of possessions we accumulate? Or can we find a deeper, more enduring form of richness by mastering ourselves, moderating our desires, and focusing on what truly matters in life? The Stoic view on wealth offers us a path to freedom from the endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction, freedom from the tyranny of others' opinions, and freedom to live a life aligned with our deepest values. By embracing this perspective, we open ourselves to a form of wealth that no market crash can diminish and no thief can steal. The wealth of a life well lived. Defining personal wealth. In exploring the Stoic perspective on wealth, we now turn to a crucial concept, defining personal wealth. The Stoics recognized that true richness is deeply subjective, going beyond mere financial abundance. As Epictetus famously said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to personal wealth, suggesting that our richness is not determined by what we own, but by our relationship to our desires. Consider what a rich life means to you. Is it the freedom to travel the world, the ability to spend quality time with loved ones, the opportunity to pursue meaningful work, or the simple pleasure of a quiet life, free from financial stress? The answers to these questions will vary significantly from person to person. Some may find wealth in a life of adventure and new experiences, while others may see it in the depth of their relationships or the impact of their work. Still others define wealth as the freedom to live unburdened by excessive possessions or obligations. The Stoic perspective suggests that the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. This perspective invites us to shift our focus from accumulation to contentment. Instead of constantly striving for more, we can cultivate satisfaction with what we already have. This doesn't mean we should abandon all ambition or desire for improvement. Instead, it encourages us to be mindful of our wants and to distinguish between what we truly need for a fulfilling life and what society tells us we should want. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of self-sufficiency in defining personal wealth. Another prominent Stoic philosopher advised, "Make yourself wealthy, not by facilitating every whim, but by removing them." This suggests that true wealth comes from our ability to meet our needs and find contentment within ourselves, rather than relying on external sources for our happiness. Consider the difference between someone who needs constant entertainment, luxury, and validation to feel satisfied, and someone who can find joy in simple pleasures, meaningful work, and their own company, who, in this scenario, is truly wealthier. The Stoic approach to personal wealth also emphasizes the value of intangible riches. Wisdom, virtue, meaningful relationships, and peace of mind are forms of wealth that can't be measured in monetary terms, but are invaluable to a well-lived life. As Epictetus reminds us, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. This attitude of gratitude is a form of wealth, allowing us to appreciate and fully experience the richness of our lives in the present moment. Defining personal wealth in Stoic terms also involves aligning our definition of success with our deepest values. It's about creating a life rich in meaning, purpose, and personal fulfillment, rather than one that merely looks impressive from the outside. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. What are the things that truly enrich your life? What are the experiences, relationships, or accomplishments that make you feel genuinely wealthy? How might your life change if you oriented your pursuits around these sources of genuine richness rather than societal expectations of wealth? By thoughtfully defining what personal wealth means to us, we set the foundation for a truly rich life. We free ourselves from the endless pursuit of more and open ourselves to the abundance in our lives. Remember, in the Stoic view, the wealthiest person does not have the biggest house or the most expensive car. It's the person who has cultivated inner peace, finds joy in what they have, and lives in alignment with their values. As we move forward, let this Stoic wisdom guide us in redefining wealth on our terms. Let's aim not just for financial abundance, but for a life rich in contentment, meaning, and genuine fulfillment, knowing what is enough In our journey through Stoic wisdom on wealth, we now come to a crucial concept: knowing what is enough. This idea is central to the Stoic approach to living a rich and fulfilling life. Let's begin with an old and profound statement. If you don't regard what you have as enough, you'll be miserable, no matter how much you possess. This powerful insight cuts to the heart of our modern struggle with contentment. In a world that constantly bombards us with messages of more, bigger, and better, the ability to recognize and appreciate enough is a radical act. The Stoics understood that the pursuit of wealth, when unchecked, can become an endless and unsatisfying chase. No matter how much we accumulate, there's always something more to want, something else to achieve. This perpetual desire fails to bring lasting happiness and can rob us of the joy and contentment available in the present moment. Consider the wisdom of Seneca's observation. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. This reframes poverty not as a lack of possessions, but as an insatiable desire for more. In contrast, true wealth comes from being satisfied with what we have. But how do we determine what is enough? The Stoics would argue that it's a deeply personal question that requires honest self-reflection and a clear understanding of our values and needs. For some, enough might mean having sufficient resources to live comfortably and pursue their passions. For others, it could be the ability to provide for their family and contribute to their community. The key is to define enough based on our genuine needs and deepest values, rather than societal expectations or fleeting desires. Epictetus offers guidance. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. This attitude of gratitude is a powerful antidote to the perpetual craving for more. By focusing on and appreciating what we already have, we can experience a richness that no additional wealth can provide. There's a well-known story that illustrates this point beautifully. At a party, the novelist Kurt Vonnegut informs his friend Joseph Heller that their host, a hedge fund manager, had made more money in a single day than Heller had earned from his wildly popular novel Catch-22 over its history. Heller responds, "Yes, but I have something he will never have: enough." This anecdote captures the essence of the Stoic approach to enough. It's not about accumulating the most, but recognizing the sufficiency of what we have and finding contentment in it. Another Stoic philosopher advises, make yourself wealthy, not by facilitating every whim, but by removing them. Knowing what is enough isn't just about setting an upper limit on our desires, but actively working to moderate and refine them. By cultivating contentment and practicing moderation, we free ourselves from the tyranny of endless wanting, creating space in our lives for what truly matters: meaningful relationships, personal growth, contribution to others, and inner peace. Remember, in the Stoic view, true wealth isn't about having the most, but about needing the least. By knowing and appreciating what is enough, we open ourselves to a richness that goes far beyond material possessions, the wealth of a content and purposeful life. As we internalize this principle, we may realize we already have more than enough. In that realization lies a form of wealth that no money can buy: practicing poverty. One of the most counterintuitive yet powerful Stoic practices for cultivating true wealth is practicing poverty. This might sound strange in our modern context, where we often equate wealth with comfort and abundance. However, the Stoics understood that deliberately embracing discomfort and scarcity even temporarily, can lead to profound insights and personal growth. Let's begin with Seneca's advice on this practice. Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition that I feared?" This exercise isn't about glorifying poverty or denying ourselves the necessities of life. Instead, it's a tool for building resilience, cultivating gratitude, and freeing ourselves from the fear of loss that often accompanies material wealth. As Seneca wisely observed, wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool. This powerful statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to material possessions. The wise person uses wealth as a tool, not allowing themselves to be controlled or defined by it. On the other hand, the fool becomes enslaved to their possessions, constantly fearing losing them. By voluntarily experiencing poverty, even for a short time, we learn that we can survive and even thrive with much less than we typically believe we need. This realization can be incredibly liberating. It frees us from the anxiety of potential loss and helps us appreciate the abundance in our lives more deeply. Consider the story of the anonymous CEO who practices living on a minimal budget for 1 week each year. Despite his considerable wealth, he finds this exercise grounding and perspective shifting. It reminds him of the difference between wants and needs and helps him empathize with those less fortunate. This practice also aligns with the teachings of Musonius Rufus, who said, "If you really want to make yourself wealthy, you must first get rid of your debts." While he was likely referring to financial debt, we can also interpret this as the psychological debts we owe to our possessions, the mental energy we expend worrying about maintaining and protecting our stuff. Practicing poverty can help us shed these psychological debts. It teaches us that our well-being doesn't depend on our possessions. As we learn to be content with less, we gain a form of wealth that can't be taken away. The wealth of self-sufficiency and inner peace. Epictetus, who experienced absolute poverty and slavery in his early life, understood this well. He taught, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." By voluntarily embracing discomfort and scarcity, we build self-mastery and resilience. We prove to ourselves that we can handle adversity, increasing our confidence and sense of personal power. Remember, the goal isn't to romanticize poverty or deny ourselves permanently. It's to gain perspective, build resilience, and free ourselves from the fear and anxiety often accompanying material wealth. As we engage in this practice, we may find that we need far less than we thought to be happy and fulfilled. We may discover a richness in simplicity that we never knew existed, and we may come to embody Seneca's ideal, becoming the wise person for whom wealth is a tool, not a master. By practicing poverty, we paradoxically make ourselves genuinely wealthy. We gain the freedom from knowing we can be content with little, the resilience from facing discomfort voluntarily, and the gratitude that arises when we fully appreciate the abundance in our lives. In embracing this Stoic practice, we take a significant step towards redefining wealth on our terms and living a life of true richness and freedom. Cultivating inner wealth as we delve deeper into the Stoic perspective on wealth, we arrive at the most crucial aspect, cultivating inner wealth. The Stoics understood that true richness comes not from external possessions, but from developing our character, wisdom, and virtues. Seneca captures this idea powerfully by saying, "Any man who does not think that what he has is more than ample is an unhappy man, even if he is the master of the whole world. This profound statement highlights that contentment and gratitude, not material abundance, are the true markers of wealth. Even someone who owns everything can be impoverished if they cannot appreciate what they have. The Stoics recognized that external wealth, while potentially useful, can also be treacherous. Seneca warns us, "At last, away with all these treacherous goods. They look better for those who hope for them than those who have attained them." This insight reminds us that pursuing material wealth often promises more satisfaction than it delivers. The anticipation of riches can be more alluring than the reality of possessing them. Instead of focusing on external riches, the Stoics advocated for cultivating inner wealth through the development of virtues. The four cardinal virtues of Stoicism, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, form the foundation of this inner wealth. However, the Stoics also recognized the seductive power of external goods. Epictetus warns, "Anything at all, the applause of the crowd, high office, wealth, or self-indulgence, all of them might seem to be compatible with it for a while, but suddenly they control us and sweep us away." This caution reminds us that if we're not careful, external goods can take control of our lives, distracting us from what truly matters and eroding our inner wealth. Remember, in the Stoic view, the wealthiest person is not the one with the most possessions, but who has developed the most incredible mastery over themselves. It's the person who can find contentment in any situation, acts with integrity regardless of the consequences, and contributes positively to the world around them. By cultivating inner wealth, we free ourselves from the endless pursuit of external validation and material accumulation. We discover a form of richness that is enduring, fulfilling, and entirely within our control. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.